Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Some massive news for this Texas Longhorns program coming out of the recruiting trail as five-star quarterback Dia Bell in the 2026 class committing to the Texas Longhorns. I think you got to start with just the quarterback room that Coach Sark is assembling for this Texas program. Not only is it one of, if not the most talented quarterback room that you see heading into 2024, but you start looking at 2025, 2026, 2027, this quarterback room is going to be absolutely loaded for the next half a decade. And you look at Dia Bell and say there is so much to like about this kid's game. At 6'2", 200 pounds, he has a phenomenal arm, but most importantly, just a smooth and quick stroke. He is a guy that can dice you up from the pocket, but also somebody that can extend plays outside the pocket, keep his eyes downfield, and make some really high caliber throws. This is, in my mind, a massive pickup for this Texas program. Fired up to get into the film. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys and the Texas fans. It's starting to heat up for this Longhorns program on the recruiting trail. I've had a blast breaking down these commitments. Can't thank you guys enough for all the support. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into Dia Bell. And as a sophomore, he put up some extremely impressive numbers: 2,000 passing yards, a 65% completion percentage, 20 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. You start looking at the athletic profile. This is a kid that averaged 20 points on the basketball court as a freshman at the varsity level, a premier athlete at the quarterback spot. And then you start diving into the film and you talk about why Coach Sark thought this was a priority to get this one done early. Obviously, you love the physical stature at 6'2", 200 pounds, really clean throwing motion, and the ability to just get the football to really any blade of grass on the football field, can throw to the boundary, can push the deep ball down to the deeper third, really excels work in the middle of the field. And when you look at Dia Bell and just say he's got so many throws in his arsenal. I mean, he's a guy that can absolutely put some moonshots attacking that deeper third. He's a guy that can rip it in when he needs to, but I think my favorite attribute about Dia Bell is how he layers footballs in, and that's something that you don't always see a ton of young quarterbacks have jumping up to the collegiate level, but a throw that you need to be able to make at a high level if you want to be one of the best quarterbacks in the college football landscape. Dia Bell, I mean, as a sophomore in high school, shows those kind of throws on the film. There is a reason he's a top 10 national prospect, the number 2 quarterback, according to the 24/7 Sports Composite. Want to get into the film and just kind of go to work with what Dia Bell can do. One, the ball placement is just absolutely exceptional. I mean, you see throwing with anticipation, but more importantly, I mean, this football can only go in one spot, and Dia Bell puts it right where it needs to go. Extremely impressive ball placement. He can push the ball to the deeper third with relative ease. I mean, he gets the football out very quickly, extends plays exceptionally well. Again, this is a guy that 20 points as a freshman at the varsity level on the basketball court, extending plays, keeping his eyes downfield, and just throwing an absolute rocket. I mean, we talk about all the different throws that he has in his bag. I mean, on the run, throwing a just frozen rope 20-plus yards down the field as a sophomore in high school. The arm strength for sophomores, absolutely exceptional. Then he has this moonshot that is absolutely so impressive. I mean, he's a guy that can rip it in there. But if you want to just ask him to lay one out 50 yards, throw it away up in the air, let his wide receivers go and make a play, again, extending plays, getting it done with his legs, always keeping his eyes downfield. I really like this rep too. I mean, when you work through the film of Dia Bell, this isn't the flashiest play, but you kind of look at the pocket presence for a sophomore quarterback at the high school ranks, going through his progressions, checking down to the middle of the field. I mean, those are rare traits for a kid that's a sophomore in high school. Dia Bell is kind of wired the right way for this quarterback spot. Again, just pushing the ball down the deeper third, throwing that moonshot ball. Absolutely exceptional. You could watch film on Dia Bell all day and just kind of see all the different ways that he can beat opposing defenses. And when you have a quarterback that, I mean, can extend plays, be a threat with his legs, but also attack the deeper third, this is another really impressive throw that kind of gets slept under the radar. I mean, how many quarterbacks are you feeling comfortable throwing to the boundary 20 yards down the field on a rope, on time, extremely accurate, letting his wide receiver operate after the catch, the ball placement, football getting out on time? This is just an extremely exciting film study for Texas. And one thing that I would note that I think is another storyline for Diabella is you talk about the wide receivers that Texas is going after on the high school recruiting trail. Those wide receivers want to know who's going to be throwing them the football. And what do you get to sell these wide receivers? Not only do you have Arch Manning only going into year 2 with the program, I think you have a guy in Trey Owens that has some juice to himself. You obviously have KJ Lacey in the 2025 cycle. Now you add Diabella. I mean, you're going after Jamie French or DeCorian Moore. And what you get to sell them is, hey, you could play your first year with a guy like Arch Manning, but when Arch Manning's done, you can play your second and third year with guys like Diabella. And not only are you going to get to play for an offensive mastermind and Coach Sark, but you know there is going to be very quality quarterback play getting you the football as well. Not only do they get a massive quarterback in this 2026 class, I think it really helps them on the recruiting trail, recruiting some of these top wide receivers in the 2025 cycle as well. Massive commitment for the Longhorns. You talk about a program that you just get the feeling is going in the right direction quickly. It's this Texas program. We'll close it on that. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.